Hello viewers, welcome to the East Midlands, where we're at round number 3, season 3 of the Tanso Racing Group TCR League. My name is Rob Sutherland, joined by Rob Jackson on the cameras, and we are looking at the end of practice and the start of quali, and we're looking at about 18 drivers today, and we're looking at Emma Dempsey, who's a new driver, and she's just about to go out in a quali. So you've heard enough from me for the first few seconds. I'll pass you over to Mr. Rob Jackson now. How you doing, Mr. Rob?
I'm all good, Rob. I'm good. It's 2 weeks have flown by in quite quickly, and before we know it, we're back live for round 3 of the season 3 in the Tanso Racing League.
Excellent. So we had a bit of a interesting practice. What I can see is we've had some drivers change cars. 3 of the drivers, the Insignia guys, returning Dan Mould, has moved to... Well, he's remained in a Honda. We saw him at round 1 in Brands GP. But the other driver, who was our last winner at Silverstone GP Legacy Circuit, Fraser Geraghty, who I would call a reverse grid specialist. I'm happy to put that curse on him now. He has switched from an Audi to also join his other Insignia chaps in a nice little Honda. And out of that practice, we saw Dan Mould and Callum Regarton tied in practice time. So going to be close.
Yeah, the practice time was pretty much bang on, wasn't it? To the thousandth of a second. So
absolutely. And we're just flicking to David Smith now. Is that a new paint job for David?
Yep, it's let's just flick back to him so we can have a look at that. Yeah, it's a new paint job. Looks like a new team, possibly a new sponsor for him.
Right. What's that say on the side?
118 black. So it's
gambling. If the gambling sites are getting into iRacing, we're screwed. The world's coming to an end. Well, it is anyway, but let's talk about that another time. So we're looking at David Smith now, who's changed from a lovely yellow SRL machine to a machine that looks like it's reversed through B&Q paint aisle. And he is currently setting his 3rd sector, I think. So we should see a lap from him. So the circuit is the Donnington National layout, which I think we can all agree is the best layout of Donnington. And it's also the first time in 3 seasons that Tanso has visited the national layout, which is, I think, a pretty good time to do it, Rob.
Yeah, no, it's I think out of the 2 layouts, this and the old GP F1 layout, it's definitely the most fun. Yeah, the 2 extra hairpins, they just don't seem to, I don't know, they don't add anything for me apart from trauma.
Yeah, sure, trauma and dive bombs.
That's
I think that might be an invalid lap from David Smith. I think I saw him take about 4 tyres over the curbs. So we're seeing some times come in already.
Yep, just on board watching Fraser now, who's set a 1 minute 13.05, so he's top of the leaderboards at the moment. There we go, we've just popped the timing tower up on the screen. So John Brown is only 1/100th of a second behind him, and then followed by Derek Crowther, currently in 3rd position.
Right, so Honda has been buffed a little bit. Everyone's using a fixed setup before anyone wonders why people are changing cars, etc. There is a fixed setup on each of the cars. They're all bopped. They're all balanced of performance. So I think it's just purely aesthetic reasons, why people want to move. But there is a bit of a... the Honda was trailing a little bit, and it looks like they've done a little bit of work in iRacing world to bring it a little bit back up to performance with the rest of the guys. So we should be hopefully seeing Honda guys sort of come through the pack a little bit to join the Hyundais and the Audis. And we can also see, actually, that Scott Malcolm and John Brown have made an Audi 1-2 currently.
Yep, they are there. Again, there's only 7/100ths between them. So it's going to be a close fight this tonight, I think, on all the races. But just going back to what you're saying then, Rob, about the Honda. Yeah, the issue was the rear springs, weren't they? They were too bouncy, and any touch on a curb and the back end was trying to bounce around, and just made the car too unstable.
A little bit hoppy. I'm looking at Dan Mould. He hasn't set a time yet. He's probably a reason that doesn't look like he wants to set a time, to be honest with you. He has got quite a lot of purples. So Ah, no, I think I know what he's doing. He's doing something quite cheeky. He's trying to get a run out the last corner to get a good start-finish time speed, I think. Let's have a look at who else hasn't set a qualification time yet. Daniel Worm in the Audi, car number 73. He's still going around. Is that another paint from Mr. Wareham? Callum Regarton, obviously, we don't expect him to set a time as well because he, like Mr. Mould, likes to do a last to first challenge, which is fantastic. And Emma Dempsey, who's another new driver, we saw at the start of the session. She hasn't set a time yet. She did pretty good in practice, so we should be able to see her set a representable time quite soon.
It looks like she's just pulling over there now, so she's either going to reset and get some new fresh tyres, or she's just giving up and not doing it.
Oh, well, we have a third, maybe a last to first challenge from Emma Dempsey in the number 8 machine. So Emma's new to the championship. I think she's been racing in the MX5 championship. That alternates Friday nights. And I think everyone set a third lap apart from Mark Brown, and Daniel Worms just set his first time. He's currently 13th position in the Audi. And I think we're just looking at a couple more now. It's the Green Matrix machine and Daniel Worm on screen.
Oh yeah, actually I forgot, the only in this session you only get 3 laps, don't they?
Yes, I have been looking at some open qualies recently, and so this is a blast back to the past again.
Yeah, that's what confused me there. Then I had it in my head that it was an open quali of 10-15 minutes time, so they get unlimited amount of laps. But as this league is quite, like you said, a fixed setup. You just give them 3 flying laps, and that's it. That's your chance.
And no towing and no drama as well, I think. We can see the times. I think they're on the timing screen on the side of the broadcast. We can only see the top 16, so there are a couple missing, but these are the couple that haven't set their lap time yet. So we've got 18 in session. There is a reverse grid in the feature race. We'll have a 20-minute heat, and then there'll be a reverse grid of 12 cars for the feature race, which will also be 20 minutes. So we will see a partially reverse grid. And the reverse grids, if there are anything like Silverstone GP a couple of weeks ago, they are going to be mental.
Yeah, that's right. It's just we were saying about the timing tower there, Rob. I've just adjusted it now so we can see all the cars in one go. And if you look from first all the way down to 13th position, there is less than a second between them all. So I think we are in for some good fun tonight. And like you said, with a reverse grid race, it'll certainly be interesting.
So let's go up to the chopper. Daniel Wareham's called it a day for his efforts. He's currently sat in 12th position. He did improve by 1 position, and he hit a 1:13.6. Again, as you said, nice and close on the times. Scott Malcolm is currently in 2nd position, beaten by John Brown to pole. And Scott is a familiar racer to anyone that sits in the TCR, and certainly anyone that does a TCR league. So it's good to see him do what will be his debut in Tanso Racing Group. But he's raced with these guys many, many, many times before. Sometimes to great success, sometimes to great distress. I don't know if they go together. But it's good to see him aboard as well.
Yeah, spent many time on track with Scott, and he's sure to put up a good fight when required.
He once beat me to a checkered flag by 0.00001 second, which at Summit Point, which I try not to remind him about too often, but if he watches this broadcast back, he might crack a smile. I certainly don't crack a smile, but that's life.
It's, yeah,
hello, Milky1616. Is that Neil Stevenson?
That is Neil Stevenson. Look, what you doing there, Neil? You should be behind the wheel.
Yes, Mr. Stevenson. I echo that. You should be here, sir.
Well, thanks for watching anyway.
Yes. Next time, be on track, please. The next round will be in a couple of weeks' time, actually, and that'll be Alton Park with no chicane. So your favourite. I'm putting it on there now. Right, so we've got about 30 seconds left in broadcast.
Yeah, we're just waiting for JT Johnson. He's still currently on the track, so that's why the results they haven't come up yet.
I can't see him. Whereabouts is he, sir?
It's showing on the timing that, yeah, there you go. He's just parked at the end at Redgate.
Oh, well, there you go. Free advertising for Mr. John Johnson.
And of course, he's our league organizer. Oh,
yes.
as he disappears.
And that's his lot done. So that's the end of qualification. We're going to go into a qualification order-based start now. And wait for the first cars to join in the circuit. Or, sorry, join in the grid. So if we find a nice little long shot, we should be able to see down the straight.
Yep, so I'll just quickly run through the grid. So we've got John Brown in first, followed by Scott Malcolm in second, Fraser Garrity in third, and Chris Perry in fourth. Nick Clibbens fifth, with Derek Crowther in sixth, Sam Smith in seventh, Al Brown in eighth, Craig Walters in ninth, Mark Brown in 10th, Elliot James in 11th, and Daniel Wareham in 12th. That's just the... Where's the... just trying to get...
Right, so I think we are all on grid. I think we're just waiting for Sam J. Smith, actually, who is returning for his second ever race in Tanso.
Apologies there, the grid wouldn't move down to the next row, so yeah, like I said, we're all on grid now, and we're just waiting for them to, or in fact we're actually waiting for Dan to join at the back.
And I think it will be in the flag quite quickly. That car from Mr. John Brown doesn't have the Tango livery today. I will tell you about that quite shortly, why that is. But there's a nice little new paint, and that paint is shared by a couple of other cars who also share the same second name, so you might understand why they may be in the same team. But we're just waiting for the start.
The lights just come on now, and we're off.
So away we go. A bit of a puff of the smoke in the middle of the grid as they all try to get the best start possible, and we can see that Brown and Malcolm in the Mad Machine are going down into first corner, so they get through nice and clean. Further back down the grid, we can see they're all going side by side. The red car in the middle, that's Craig Wallace, last year's champion, as they go down friendly curves. And down the bottom into old hairpins, normally where the fun begins. So we'll see what happens. Well, I think we missed an Elliot James crash, so I think that might have been on the start-finish straight, if not T1. It looks like there's a red car off in the middle that's just been turned.
Yeah, I think it's Stuart Gibbons has gone off track, and like I said, Elliot James crashed as well. So once it all settles down, we can go back and just have a quick look at them.
And if it's anything like Silverstone, probably won't settle down. I think there's a slow car in the back of the pack. I think they maybe took a bit of a slowdown. Sometimes down there you can get a slowdown through avoiding other cars, really, and cutting the track a little bit. So Gibbons has just jumped to the bit, so he had shenanigans. Maybe he was that little red car we saw earlier, but just looking at the back or in the middle now, Nick Clibbens is in 4th position, up +1 in the Hyundai, the lead Hyundai of the grid so far. Bit of a flash to the lights, maybe he's trying to get in ahead of the car in front, or he's a bit of drama that we've missed. And looks like inside Scott Malcolm just shows himself to the inside of Nick Garrity as they go now side by side down the hill into T2. And I think we have just missed Sam J. Smith have a little bit of a crash. So a little bit of a progress towards the back of the grid. Dan Mould currently +7 in the first couple of corners. Callum Reed +5 to 13th position. We can see the change for the lead again, or the change for second place. That looks like that's Scott Malcolm off wide. Looks like there's a Matrix car off wide as well. That might be a car of David Smith.
No, the Matrix is Daniel Wareham.
Daniel Wareham off track. So there we go. Just showing himself up to the inside of a hindered Scott Malcolm, who had a bit of off track we saw earlier. That's for P number 7, I think. So welcome to the championship, Scott. It's just as shouldery as the other TCR championships you've raced in. We have a Matrix in formation now, coming down Starkey Straights into the chicane, and looking behind Mr. Wareham, we have Dan Mould in the number 80 Honda. Looks like there's a car off ahead, the Excite car of Nick Clibbens. I think he's had a little bit of a slide out. Sometimes when we can see the tyre marks on the start-finish straight, actually. Sometimes when you get this car off the track, it's a bit hard to get back on again. So he's dropped down a couple of positions. This is certainly busy. How busy is it? Well, we can see the Matrix cars side by side, actually, going down into Craners, down into old approaching holder hairpin, and I think one of them just had to yield and let Dan Mould past, and he's instantly had to let another Insignia car past, Derek Crowther, who we've not mentioned today. He's up into P11, I think, actually side by side with Daniel Wareham now, just having a little bit of a fight. So they go now up the hill of Starkey's Bridge.
I was just about to say there, I think there's a bit of a glitch in the Matrix because I had a feeling of deja vu because we've got a Matrix Insignia car followed by a Matrix and Insignia car.
Amazing. That's, well, I don't think I can, we're done, stop the broadcast. I don't think we can top that pun, to be fair. Fantastic. So we're looking at, oh God. We're looking at Derek Crowther, car number 13, car number 13 in 11th position. Looking behind him, we see Callum Gardner, Sam J. Smith, who looks like he's had a recovery drive at the moment. He's doing quite well because he went off early. Is it time to look back at some highlights, some replays?
Yep.
Nope, because I can see, actually, I can see Al, who's never far away from Craig Waters. He's just inside him into T1 now. Bit of a tighter line there. Well, there we go. We can see the brown livery cars. Craig runs wide onto the grass. The Browns, one of the Browns, leaves him a little bit of room to get back on as they come down Craners. That move looks like it's done now. Al Brown's got a little bit of a gap as they go into Old Hall. Craig won't give it up because I know he's quite quick around here. And we can see the other brown car on the inside defender from Scott Malcolm in the Mortal car. And again, he's just got another car behind. I'm guessing that's Dan Mould coming through the pack again on his continued charge to the front. He's now plus 10 positions. Him and Scott go way back. They know each other quite well, so this should be a good little fight.
Yeah, I think Dan saw what Scott was doing there, just squeezing past Mark Brown, and he saw the opportunity to follow him through. And there we go, he goes through past Scott as well there now.
He made that look easy as they went into McLean's and into Coppice and out of Coppice and onto the straight, but of course the Audi might have a little bit better upshift, a little bit better top speed. Dan goes across the cover into the hairpin, down on the brakes they go, down on the gears. Bit of curve from Scott, that's not going to be good. He might now get freight train from behind because he's in the back. And there we go, we can see a couple of Matrix cars, a Simtech car. They are 3 wide on the start finish straight, ladies and gentlemen. And Scott just tries to stick on the inside.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting again. It's not quite settled down. Even at the front now, we've got Fraser Garrity stuck behind John Brown. So he's closed the gap up there, which was 0.3 of a second.
So this is TCR Racing, guys. We're going up Starkey's again, up the hill, where you need to keep flat out. Nick Clemens styles it out, gets his rear wheel on the grass, slides it out a bit, catches it on the throttle, and looks quite good. Craig Waters goes for a textbook dive to deny the apex. And that was a fantastic move there on one of the Browns. Didn't work though. Down behind Scott Malcolm, they're still fighting. So we'll see if that's worked itself out by the time they get to Starkey Straits. I've got no Matrix puns for this.
That's it.
I'm flat out.
Yeah,
no, I'm flat out. Callum Garden, who hasn't gone forward as much as I thought he would do, just gets up and just shows his nose, and he's past one of the Matrix cars. We can see there's a brown car there who's just cut the corner, so he's going to now have a slowdown, and he's going to get swallowed. Look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, just absolutely freight train him. And that is the car of Mark Brown, who stat time he podiumed in the MX5 race last Friday. So well done, Mark. Unlucky this time round though. However, as they go down to the start of their lap number 6, we're only 6 minutes into this, Rob.
Yep, it's not even had a chance to go back and look at the start instance yet. Yeah, no, it's. I think we can. I'll quickly jump back now just to see what happened with Elliot James on the start.
Right, so Elliot James, I think, is. Well, we're going to find out which car it is. So it looks like you can see the Honda car there. Just got a little bit of a tap. Didn't initiate at the corner. Got a rear. Turned round on him and went pretty quick and cold tyres. So that's a bit of a shame from Elliot. I think now we're going to look at another one.
Yep, we'll look back at Stuart Gibbons when he went off track.
So we're coming down into Cranerson's Old Hole. Looks like the red car went wide. Red Hyundai just lost it around the rear a little bit. Loaded up, came round, got hit by another Hyundai. I think that other Hyundai was Emma Dempsey actually. And doesn't look like there's suspension damage, but it certainly doesn't look right again. He has actually gone to the pits. Although he's back out on circuit, which is good to see.
And then we'll just go back and look at one more crash, which was Sam Smith when he crashed as well.
Right, so Sam J. Smith. I know this car. This is the Simtech car that runs in the British Sim Races TC Touring Car Championship. Looks like he had a bit of a dive there. Maybe, I think that was Dan Mould and number 13 car. I may have missed a note. That was Derek Crowther. Sorry for misidentifying that. But yeah, Sam looks like he just didn't see quite a little late send. You can do a late send there, and it does work quite well. So that's unfortunate for Sam. He's currently running 14th position, down 7 positions. And looks like he is on pace at the moment, so hopefully he can recover a few places. Or, if he's lucky, he can get 2 positions and get a reverse grid pole. So happy days. That's all right for Sam.
I suppose, like you say, every cloud's got a silver lining. If he gains them couple of positions to get reverse grid pole, it sets him up for a good finishing race too.
Right, so we need to work out, as we've just gone back into the replay, and if we go back to live at some point, we shall work out what on earth's happened in our absence, because I can see there's a lot of passing for position, as there normally is in Tanso, to be fair. We can see there's a insignia sandwich in the matrix from Derek Crowther, who is separated by, who has Chris Perry in front of him, Daniel Warren behind him. Looks like Callum Regarton just got past Scott's Malcolm.
Oh, Scott is holding up the inside there, so I think he'll get a better drive off there. Because Callum is close to touching the grass, so the front wheels will just spin up. But he's not giving it up easily. No,
down in the crane as they go. This is like a little bit of a ballet. This is, to be fair, into Old Hall. They're gonna hold themselves side by side. There is a little bit of runoff, and the altitude Esport car sticks across the curve to get a decent run up Starkey's now, and they will go side by side into McLean's, unless Mr. Malcolm decides just to stop and drop, which he hasn't. So side by side into McLean's they go. The guys behind in the Matrix cars, they're going to be going, yep, good. Please drive around all of the circuit side by side, because we're going to catch up pretty quick. It looks like Callum just dropped off into Coppice and decided on the entry to Coppice to go behind, and then on the exit of Coppice, let's go side by side again, because why not? It's a straight and it's a TCR machine, and we'll have this conversation in a couple of seconds when we get up to the hairpin, or the chicane, sorry. Right, so 5 corners later, the move is complete. They're a few seconds down from the cars ahead, which is the Al Brown and Craig Waters battle that's still going on, still going quite hot. And Scott Malcolm now needs to defend from the Matrix car that's caught back up.
Considering that last lap that Cal and Scott were battling for a good portion of the lap there then, I think Cal actually set the fastest lap of the race during that.
Amazing.
A 1 minute 12.5.
Now that just shows you how many lines you can run through around Donnington National. So there's a fight in front and behind. Which one should we pick?
If we go forward to Craig Walters, he's getting harassed there by Al Brown,
who's all over him like bee with honey. That's as much as I can think of. I apologise, but Al's just dipped in behind. Al's just enjoying showing himself on the inside and outside, just to get Craig looking firmly in his mirrors. And this will all help out Callum Regarden now, who's just under half a second behind. We can see the red SRL livery of Craig Waters there. Changes the livery like he changes his pants every couple of weeks. And we can just see the Gene Simmons on the toe strap as well, which is a bit of a legendary thing from that little SRL machine. So we can see the big gain of position through the chicane from Callum Regarden, who's catching the Code Brown machine of Al Brown, who's the Code Brown / SRL machine. A little bit of a elaborate slip round to the outside of the circuit. Now through T1, Al doesn't show him the exit, and as a result there's a bit of a suspension touch, and that shows Callum Regarden the grass, which means he's going to have to start again.
Just a little bit of flash of the lights there from Cal. So yeah, I don't think he was too happy.
No, I can probably understand that, because at some point you could have a negotiation about track and contact. But looking behind, we are rejoining the battle of the Immortal Audi TCR of Scott Malcolm and the 2 Matrix cars who've never had an insignia car more than a couple of seconds apart from all race. And it looks like Derek Crowther's finally got through that pack now as they go through McLean's up in the Coppice. New fastest lap from Callum Regarden, 1 minute 12.53. There are fights all over the place, Rob.
Yep, there's just jump to the front there as we see Fraser get a good run out of the S's at the end. So it's now a drag race down to Redgate between him and John Brown.
So we are just over 12 minutes into this race. It's probably time to show the respect that the lead battle deserves, really, because they've been pretty close all start of the race. But now as they go down side by side, to T1, down to T2 in the Craners, we can see probably for the first time this season, really, a proper Honda Audi battle. As they go down, you can just see John Brown sliding around just out of Craners. He's just trying to decelerate when he's got a bit of a lean on each side of the car. So pretty good technique from John. And we can see further behind as well, Nick Clibben's Dan Mould. Looks like they're side by side coming up Starkey's into McLean's. And Dan's Mould. So now there's another insignia sandwich. We saw an insignia sandwich further back. But now we see one right at the front. It's Dan Mould's successfully 14 positions in the positive. And we can see just coming out of Coppice on the Starkeys.
I said Dan, he's him and Carl are the last to first specialists, and Dan, I think he's going to win this round between them two, because he's gained 14 positions now since the start of the race.
You've absolutely murdered him because, cursed him because Dan's had a few problems late race. Sometimes we see what a fantastic, that is an absolute textbook T1 Donnington. Thank you very much. There's 2 lines in that corner, and he's chosen the one where you can properly send it. So maybe a little bit undefended from John, but still absolutely a surprise send from Dan Mould, and that was an absolutely fantastic one. Job done on his neighbour, Mr. Brown. Nick Clibbins is now sat behind this 4-1. He's now a position outside of the podium, so bit of a shame from him. And this is the there you go. This is the Code Brown machine. You can see there's that's either a salt shaker or a machine gun on the front of that car.
I'd go with the machine gun, minigun type of thing there to try and get in the heads of the driver they're chasing down.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to pass someone, I think. So this is the new Code Brown livery. We can see with John Brown currently 3rd position. I think Callum Regarton is up into P6. I don't think we need to see it. But yeah, he's about 1.2 seconds off of Craig. The biggest gap, obviously, is this lead group. We see side by side. That's, I think that's a Matrix machine. I've seen this quite a lot. I think that's Derek Crowther still fighting off the Matrix guys. I think they might be a little bit quicker through the second half of the lap, to be fair. Catching back up, but now the Matrix guys side by side. And this has been pretty much a battle. There's always been a battle. And talking about battle, this is a battle for the lead. Fraser Garrity, who was up until today the reverse grid battle, but he's pretty good at starting from the front of the circuit. So this is formation flying from Insignia through Old Hall Hairpin.
He's Dan's trying to get past his teammate, but that's just opening the door back up for John Brown and also for Nick Clibbins, who's tucked in nicely at the back of this little train.
I've just seen a chat from SRL TCR in chat. Dean Hammond, I think serving police officer. How you doing, sir? He asks, how is Dan behind Scrabble on the grid? That's because Dan didn't set a qualification time. Pretty simply, he's wanted to drive from back to front, which looks like he's almost completed. And that's why, really, Dean. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks, Dean, at Alton Park when you sign up to this league. So, further back, Callum Reed-Garden in 6th position, currently sat behind Craig Walders in 5th. He's just caught him up, and the red SRL machine now is going to go hard defend from the altitude. A bit of a hard defend there from Cow. He didn't need to leave his nose where he left it, as Craig just tried to open up the corner again and found out there was a car there. But it looks like they all still survive. They go out of T1 in side by side. And I think Callum might be a little bit aggressive on this pass. I think he might need to be on the 007 machine. Yep, a little bit of a switch. A fake of a send just to scare Craig off the apex. Looks like it's worked. Fantastic exit from Callum. Bit of a grasp from Craig now. They got Starkey side by side. Craig's on the short line, we can see, but he's still the power of the Hyundai. Just tucks it up in front, and now they go into McLean's in the lead. Just misses the apex a little bit. Craig says, yep, he loves a bit of that. He won't give it up. He'll look for the send into Coppice. Coppice entrance is clean. At the back, Al Brown is fighting with Scott Malcolm. There's always someone fighting. This is the same as Silverstone. It's just absolutely busy. Silverstone Heat 1 was busier than any other Heat 1 I remember. So this is surpassing it, I think. This is absolutely fantastic. And Al Brown, the other Code Brown SRL machine, just goes through the right and the left of the chicane onto start-finish. What is the start of their 14th lap. And it looks like the move at the front, there's another car, Simtechnics car. I think that's Sam J. Smith. He's on the grass. I think there might be a battle for the lead. I think the three-way battle for the lead is back on. Dan Moulds completed his back to front. Fantastic, congratulations. And his wingman, Fraser Garrity, is trying to hold off the Audi of John Brown. Down into Old Hole for their 15th time. How many minutes have we got left in the race? Probably about 2-3 laps, I think.
Yep, we've just come up to 18 minutes gone in the race. So yeah, there's probably, if not this one, there'll be one more lap after this, if you can work them maths out.
I'm really not good at maths. I do need to wet the whistle though. So we're looking at still the continuing defensive battle from Fraser Garrity, but he's not holding the guys up enough to get Nick Clibbins involved. So that's pretty good from him. as we see the other Code Brown machine just looking up. I think there's a Code Brown machine in a fight everywhere on the circuit, and we can see Mark Brown just getting much better exit out of Coppice onto the Starkey's straight, and he might get that completed by the start. We'll see. We're looking at the lead quadrant again.
I think we just noticing then Barney the flagman wasn't waving his white flag, so we've definitely got this lap and I would guess one more lap to go.
Excellent, fantastic. So we'll all keep an eye on that. Sam J. Smith and Mark Brown are still fighting heavily for P number 12. I think they're side by side pretty much. Yeah, looks like they're side by side for the last few corners, and it's just had to. So it looks like Sam J. Smith just had to get a touch on the grass, and he's dropped back a little bit now. I think that might be that battle might be a little bit inert for the next couple of corners.
Yeah, I suppose for Sam there, he just needs to compose himself a bit more, get back into the rhythm, and close that gap back down to Mark Brown so he can attack and try and gain another position.
Yeah, maybe get the tyres back straight. The track is a balmy 32 degrees Celsius, which is quite warm for this part of the world in a February. Looks like JT Johnson's just entered and left the pit lane, so I think he might have had a I think he's got quite a few incidents maybe where he's had a drive through, and there's another Code Brown machine off. So how on earth did we miss Al Brown drop a few positions? I think we might need to see if there was any contact there between Scott and Al Brown. Another little switch, and that's an accident. That's our first of the day. That's a 3. Well, that is a Code Brown. Brown on Brown with a bit of Smith involved as well. A bit of a style it out. I think there's a suspension going in. I think we certainly will have to look at what happened to the Code Brown Audi that just got his wheel on the grass and caused all of that little drama.
So we'll just flick back now then and just see what happened.
So we can see a little bit of a twitch in the Code Brown machine. Looks like he's going significantly slower than the 22 machine of Mark Brown. So that was a bit of an unfortunate. That was completely and utterly avoidable. That little twitch didn't do anyone any favours really. So that looks like that's Mark Brown. Late in the race, he's out down into last place. That's suspension damage. Yep. They do get a faster pair, so they will rejoin. I think if we go back to the lead battle and see how Barney's doing. So that's drama. We do have probably got a couple of replays we can look at after the race, actually, just to see what happens. There is a light flash from Fraser Garrity.
I think that's it. I think they're on the final lap now. So of course Dan comes around the final 2 bends and comes up to the line to complete his last of first mission.
So project success on the Mold machine for the little Honda number 80. Dan Mold takes the win. Fraser Garrity second position. Final place in the podium taken by John Brown. Nick Clemens rolls home in a controlled 4th position, and Callum Regarden finishes in 5th position. I see a Matrix car running slow. Is he scribbling a little bit?
Yep. Chris Perry, I think he's just must have crashed on that last chicane. We just quickly go back to have a look at that now.
Yeah, so it looks like he caught the grass a little bit, and not sure what else happened. Maybe he went over that curb and it broke something. Nope. Huh. But it is crabbing. Well, it looks like it's crabbing. Maybe he had a little bit of contact. These suspension struts do not like consecutive contacts, so maybe it's that. I think it's going to get a bit of push start from a Hyundai. So
yeah, I think that's Emma Dempsey just trying to push him along. Maybe just help him get off the track.
Which is fantastic. Fantastic sponsorship there in the Tanso Racing Group. It looks like he has finished the race, and we can see Hyundai trackside support there from Emma. Is she just going to send him into the accident everyone else seems to have in the first corner?
Yep.
Maybe that's it. I think we missed a few positions out, and I think everyone has finished, Mr. Jackson. So what we'll do is we'll go through a results page. I'll let you talk I'll let you talk everyone through that, and then we'll try and have a look back, see if there were any incidents that we missed. Yep.
So the qualifying results that are up, they've still not quite come through yet. The final results. So once they come through, we can then look at them. And so there they are now. If we bring them up on the screen, which for some reason they are not deciding to. There we go, got them now. So we've got Dan Mould, who came first position, Fraser Garrity in second, John Brown in third, and Nick Clibbins in fourth. Callum Regarton in 5th, Craig Walters in 6th, Scott Malcolm in 7th, and Derek Crowder in 8th. Daniel Wareham was 9th, Elliot James in 10th, Al Brown was 11th, and Chris Perry came in 12th, which will be given the reverse grid pole. Emma Dempsey in 13th, John Brown in 14th, Sam Smith in 15th, and then we've got David Smith in 16th, Mark Brown 17th, and Stuart Gibbons in 18th. And to be honest, Rob, looking at that, I think that's the most we've ever had finish on the lead lap. To be honest, I think
that is probably a fairly accurate stat, actually. Although it's one stat I haven't kept in my sheet of stats, which I'm not sure I'll amend that one. But it's good if you remember that. To be fair. So who's going to get our reverse grid?
it's with Chris Perry, won't it? Who's finished in 12th. So I think it's top 12 get reverse.
Fantastic. So let's look back. Oh, I think we're gonna. Yeah. Okay. So session's ended. We missed some events from that last session, so we might not be able to see what happened in the end of that race because we did see a couple of off tracks. So sorry if we missed anything. What we will try to do now is take a little bit of a break. There is a 5-minute warm-up. You probably don't want us talking for any longer than throughout that. So we shall see you in a couple of minutes where we'll look at our reverse grid 20-lap race. And that will be absolutely mental because reverse grids in Tanso are always absolutely mental. Welcome back, viewers. We won't take you through the grid because I think we've not got a lot of time. Well, in fact, I will probably go through it quite quickly. Pole position, reverse grid, Chris Parry. Second position, Al Brown. Third position, Elliot James. Fourth position, Daniel Wareham. Fifth position, Derek Crowther in the Signature Machine. Sixth position, Scott Malcolm. Seventh position, Craig Walters. Eighth position, Callum Regarden. Ninth is Nick Clibbens. 10th position, Scott Brown. 11th, Fraser Garrity. 12th position is Dan Mould. 13th, Emma Dempsey. 14th, John Johnson. 15th is Sam J. Smith. 16th position, David Smith. 17th position, Mark Brown. 18th position, round out the rear, is Stuart Gibbons. That was quick. We're just waiting for the last car, which is Dan Mould.
The lights are on now, Rob, and the lights are out.
So we go green for the reverse grid. There's a terrible start from a Honda in the second row, and I think that was Elliot James, who's just got absolutely swamped by the top 10 of the reverse grid. We see a matrix 1, 2, 3 again, and then we see everybody else 3 wide, and who's in the middle? Craig Walters, as he just gives a little nudge to Callum Regarten onto the grass. Pretty much a replay of round 1, really, or race 1. So we'll see how that turns out in a couple of corners, but he's still going side by side down the Old Hall. Callum Regarden elects to take the inside to try and get a line up into Craig. Doesn't work, tucks in behind, and still there's a battle further back, which one of the Code Brown machines. And there's a wide, we see there's a Honda off at the back. That looks like it's Fraser Garrity. And I think Dan Mould are off. We are going to have to see what happened there, I think.
Yeah, with Dan, Dan went straight to the pits as the race went green. But obviously we just saw Fraser then sliding off in the background. So yeah, if we go back and see what happened with Fraser.
So we can see, he just got turned by one of the Code Brown machines. There was a bit of a, that's a bit of a shame, but it looks like the car hasn't got much damage. I think we have to go back live, because I saw Callum Regarten shaping up on Craig Walters. And I think we just missed another bit of a crash. Looks like Emma Dempsey's just dropped a load of positions. There's a red car off. There's loads of cars off, and there are chicane. I think JT Johnson was one of them. I think we'll have to queue that one up in a few corners time. I think we went back a little bit too early. It looked like there's a little cutback from Callum Regarden through T1, but he just got his car on the curb. That sort of flicked him up and lost his momentum for that corner. So Craig Walters lives to fight another day, but he's looking in front of him. He's looking at Derek Crowther. He's thinking, I need to get past him before Callum gets past me. And we are looking at 2 significant groups in the pack, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, that's right. It's a all go again from, like I said, a Tanso reverse grid. So we got cars passing, going off. You know, it's just a hectic first couple of laps.
Right, so Callum Regarten is looking for a send at any possible opportunity given on the car of Craig Walters, which is just behind this battle we see here with Scott Malcolm. Looks like he's just made it so in Coppice. So another little textbook position, but you never see Craig Walters give this up. And now they're side by side jockeying for position as they come through the chicane. Who's the last late breakers? Well, I can fair say that's none of them really. A little bit of a curve from Callum, and now they go side by side. That's, ladies and gentlemen, how you leave racing room. Yeah, absolutely textbook from those guys.
It is. It's great respect between both drivers there, isn't it? And they gave each other just enough room, and they didn't back out, and they went for it.
So there is a returning Fraser Garrity, who's just exiting the pits into this battle now. There's an absolute freight train behind Craig Walters. They are all up each other's bumpers. We can see the 2 Simtech racing machines. They are 2s, even though one says Excite on the side. They're still the same Simtech livery, just sort of done up a little bit differently with a bit different sponsors on. But that is Nick Clibbens, that is Sam J. Smith. And behind is a very now familiar Code Brown machine. Looks like there's Nick Clibbens who's just run wide, just touched the grass. He's 3 or 4 positions behind now, and he's going to be compromised up Starkey. Looking behind him, he's got Dan Mould as well. He's recovering. And we can see Craig Walters has slid wide outside of, just entering Coppice now. So, all change, Rob.
Yep, Craig, he seems to go really slow there, so I don't know if he maybe picks up a slowdown or something. He just seemed to pull off to the side and let 3 cars past him.
Which is probably the most generous Craig's ever been in a TCR car, I must admit. Looking into the chicane now, this is, I think, the end of... Well, there's another car wide. I don't know what these guys are doing to their tyres, but they're not able to take the corners of any real gusto and line at the minute, because that's dropping the Simtech machine of Sam J. Smith down a little bit now. Callum Garden is absolutely checked out. He did the hard work nice and early, got away from Craig, and now he's just checking up the road. And he's on the back of one of the Insignia machines, of Derek Crowther, who is the lead Insignia machine, currently 5th position. This could be the reverse. This could be the race of Callum Garden, actually, who we've seen win a few of these races in the past. And he's just going to be trying to get past Mr. Crowther pretty damn quick.
Yep, he's like I said, he's gapped away from Sam, and he's getting past Derek now as we speak. And he also gets past Daniel Wareham as well, who
and I think Daniel Wareham just looked in his mirrors and went, I want to live.
Yeah.
And just let him past, I think. And that's currently now, there's a bit of a side-by-side up Starking Straight between Callum Garden and Derek Crowther, who has the best wheel combination, the best wheel paint combination of those Insignia cars, we must admit. And looks like the job might get complete, or it might not get complete. Yes, it's complete. By the chicane. Takes curb number 1, takes curb number 2, and he sets his eyes ahead. And there's a familiar Matrix paint job as well, because there was one behind him, and now there's another in front of him. And Scott Malcolm. I said Brown. We need one more Brown on the grid, don't we? Scott Malcolm's doing what Scott Malcolm does best, and that's fight his way forward. So this is about off the lead, everyone.
Yep, we can see Scott there now going up the inside of Al Brown. So again, these two guys probably know each other quite well on track, and Scott there makes it past. So again,
Al Brown compromised line straight in. Callum Garden says, yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of that. It looks like there was a Honda off in the back. I think that was Elliot James, maybe taken to the grass again through Old Hole. Don't think he was touched. I think he just sort of slid wide and went into that a little bit too hot. And Elliot James, came back on track. So that definitely was Elliot James. Our event viewer says yes, and we trust our event viewer with everything that we says. So, lap number 5, onto the back straight. We can see Callum Garden currently in 4th position, hunting down the Code Brown machine of Al Brown. I wonder how many Browns he's passed in this race so far. I'll have to... that's another one for the stat book. Just Al Brown gets his rear wheel on the grass. That makes a little bit of an exit a little bit more difficult than it should be. And now that gives Callum Garden the opportunity just to look around the outside, take the wide line through the first corner. And now he's got the optimal line down into Croners. And we see another car go wide. And that's I think, the Excite car of Nick Tibbins. Maybe no, Sam J. Smith, who's having a fantastic second race.
Yeah, you're right there. He's up 8 positions, Sam, on so far. So he's benefited from a lot of incidents in front of him, but still, to gain 8 positions, I think anyone will take that.
Yeah, it's always nice to benefit from incidents that go in front of you and not be involved any, to be fair with you. So Sam's done a pretty good job there, although he completely misses that apex. And predictably, there's a Code Brown car sat behind him. So we just have to look down the timing tower to see which Brown that is. John Brown. Hello, John. How you doing? And he will be looking at the outside of Coppice. We can see there's another side-by-side. That's Derek Crowther. Looks like he's got that job done, maybe. He's still in 5th position. Callum Garson is on the leaders. This will be absolute fireworks. We're looking at... there's a bit of a light flash there on Derek Crowther from Daniel Wareham on the Matrix machine. But this is the battle behind. So, Scott Malcolm in the Simultal car. That's the Audi in front. We are on board on the roll bar with Callum Garden. And the car in the lead, it's the first time I've seen the Matrix car in the lead. That's Chris Perry. And Chris Perry's going to be very happy that he's not got any cars up behind him at the moment. He's going to be happy that Scott is defending. And Scott defends about as well as he attacks. Pretty harshly. So it's going to be fantastic on board now for the next couple of laps. He's got pretty good racecraft, Scott, so we're going to be enjoying watching this.
Yeah, but as we see the lead trio, they're slowly catching up now to JT, who's in front, who actually pulls off the track out the way so it doesn't hinder them too much.
Yeah, that's always good if the series organiser doesn't want to get involved being lapped. I think that's very fair from him. Keep the product of the lead lap looking good, I think. Fantastic. We can see just Chris Perry just move over to the left, get out of the toe chaps, and he rejoins, goes through the chicane. And the start of his lap number 8, we're looking at about 17 laps. And I think Scott was just a little bit quicker through the chicane. And I think they're down to just half a second. More cars off wide, and it's a Hyundai this time of Sam J. Smith. And we've seen that quite a few times so far in the race. He is actually getting caught by his teammate. And also, there's a Code Brown. And next to a Code Brown is a Craig Waters, which is pretty familiar from Craig all the way through. And that's John Brown just dropping back. Craig's having a fairly busy race as he switches down Cranus to try and get on the inside line, try and get a toe. But I don't think it's close enough. Don't think that's going to work. Who is close enough, however, there's another Code Brown machine and a Insignia machine, Derek Crowther, and that's Al Brown and Crowther, and that's a change of position. Al Brown's now up to P4, Derek Crowther's down to P5. Everyone else is behind, and they've all got teeth, and it looks like we've got a battle for the lead on, Rob.
Yep, it's Callum's got past Chris Perry. He must have gone wide slightly there, and he allowed Scott and Callum past. Of course, Callum's kept the momentum up, and he's managed to get up alongside Scott. And again, it's a drag race down now to the S's.
So this might be, as it is a fight to the S's, this might be beneficial for Chris because he was going to get taught. He was going to get caught, not taught, by the guys behind. But hopefully, if he sticks with them, and Al Brown defends like an absolute dog from Derek Crowther and everyone else, every other Brown behind him, it might be looking good for the podium for Chris Perry. Don't want to curse it too early because been there, done that, and Fraser Garrity suffered. But we have the battle for the lead on. A bit of a masterclass from attack with Mr. Callum Reed-Garden, and a bit of a masterclass from defence, we hope, from Scott Malcolm. Please no contact, chaps, as they go down into Craners, and then it'll be old hole. Hopefully no one runs wide.
No, it looks like Callum there, he just broke a little bit early there, and Scott broke a bit late and went in too deep, which again's opened the door up now for Chris Perry to sneak back into second position. Absolute
textbook undercuts from Callum Reed-Garden, and that's basically caused Scott Malcolm to go into maximum defence now with Chris Perry, who looks like has survived another couple of corners, which is great, fantastic. We can see a little bit of a fight between, well, you guessed it, everyone else, but Craig Walters is classically in the middle of this, and he needs to look in his mirrors and also look in front of him because it's getting pretty busy. So we're looking at the battle between back to front, Cliven, Smith, Walters, Brown and Brown, and we might have some secondary actors joining, and that might be Dan Mould in his Sigma machine behind, and then Daniel Wareham in the Matrix machine because they're catching. And looks like Derek Crowther might pull away, which he'll be absolutely happy about because this is a bit of a humdinger of battle.
Yep, that gives Derek the time to just gap a little bit away from John Brown, just so he doesn't have to put too much pressure on his tyres, and he can find his rhythm again, and hopefully try and catch up with Chris in front of him.
So this is the first team outing for Code Brown. And we don't know how well these guys work together as a team because we've seen how well they work together when they're not a team. So we want to see how, if that changes, if there are team rules, or if the team rule is purely if your name's Brown, you're in the team. We can see John Brown now. He's moved up into 4th position or 5th position, take place of Crowther, and it looks like everyone else has got to run. This is what they call a freight train in TCR. You get offline, there's a pack of cars, they're all going to try and come past. And that looks like it's probably happening because Craig's going to set up a little bit of a line now. He's going to stick to the defensive line because he doesn't want anyone else behind getting the run on him. And we're just going to see if they sort themselves out into the chicane.
It's almost 3 wide now coming into the chicane.
I can't look.
2 wide.
So we've got Hyundai, Audi, and we've got another little bit of a slide. Someone hit, I think that's Clibbins hit the curb, just hopped a little bit wide. Now that's allows Sam J. Smith to get a hell of a run out the exit, and we've gone from a Simtech side by side into a Simtech Insignia side by side, and then we've also gone to another Simtech Insignia side by side. So it's like a really bad game of Connect 4, and there's no matrix punch yet. Looks like there's one of the guys run wide. There is a bit of a concrete patch there you can run onto to keep momentum. It looks like that's not hurt Nick Clibbins too much. This is the battle for 8th position, I think, and this is fantastic racing.
Yep, it's all the way from 4th position back to 10th and 11th. All the cars are up close and swapping positions each lap. So we've got another inter-team battle now with Nick Clibbins and Sam Smith, both of them in the Simtech cars. So yeah, hopefully these will be amicable battles, and they can work together and maybe not lose the draft from Dan Mould up in front.
Yeah, but outside of Coppice, they are side by side again. This is just spreading out a little bit of a head while these guys fight. And they look back into the Insignia car of... That is Dan Mould, isn't it? Or am I going mad? The number 5 Insignia machine is Fraser Garrity. He's a lap down. That's why it's absolutely screwing me. As once again, we see a Simtech car running wide as they struggle through the chicane. I did have a stat about Sam J. Smith, but there's no time to say it, to be honest with you. We can see Co Brown, Insignia, SRL, and then Insignia again. Craig Waters is looking nice and fighty. I think we might have seen the battle for first position just dissipate a little bit. Looks like Canterbury Gardner's got it absolutely in the book. Yep, there we go. He's checked out.
Yep, he's got a nice 2-second cushion over Scott Malcolm now. So as long as Callum keeps his tyres on the grey stuff and keeps his cool, I think he'll slowly pull away even more and, you know, romp away to victory.
Right, I think time to go back to the melee that does surround Daniel Mould. And if you're anywhere near Twitch, Dan80, that's the channel. You'll be seeing on board. In fact, let's go on board with Mr. Mould, and you can see what he can see, and all his viewers can see. And that's the Gene Simmons tongue of the SRL machine of Craig Waters as they come through the chicane. Bit of a hop, and he's got a little bit of a run on Craig, and we can see there's a bit of product placement for GW Domestic Plumbing. If other plumbing people are available, I'm sure. But Dan's looking for the little bit of an undercut now. Doesn't quite work, but he gets a hell of a better run out of the turn number 1, which I can never remember the name of.
Redgate.
Thank you very much.
Also, just a quick touch here now on out of all the 3 TCRs now, I think the Honda which Dan's driving is by far the best sounding out of the 3 on the service. I wouldn't say it's the best looking, but it's definitely the best sounding out of all of them.
Now, and if I was a nerd, I'll tell you something about the difference between the engines between the Audi and the Honda, but I'm not that guy, to be absolutely honest with you. So, you know, I'm just going to settle with lazy stereotypes like VTEC and lack of indication, maybe, you know, and stuff like that, really. And yes. Hyundai, which is like 17-year-olds going, that's a nice car, and 30-year-olds going, that's really not a nice car. Anyway, back into the chicane for what will be the start of their 14th lap.
Yeah, we're 16 minutes into this race already. It's
absolutely mental, as we've seen the Insignia car go from the front of that grid to the front of that pack to the back of that pack as he sits behind Dan Mould, and that's the Derek Crowther machine. A bit of an elusive. Well, there's a bit of contact, guys. That's probably our first bit of contact we've seen in this race, really, because that was a wild bit of defence from A. Brown. I think that was Alan Brown. And Craig went with it, couldn't brake as fast enough, and just had a little bit of a tap going into Redgate. And that's changed everything around, as it would do, as it has done quite a lot in this round, where everyone seems to be changing position every other corner, really. And so we've gone from a Craig Brown Insignia SRL now, so that's your latest one for Connect 4.
It's this is obviously there we go. This is the closest battle on track now. So Craig is tucked up behind Derek there and hoping to maybe retake one of them positions he lost.
And we can see they're all repositioning. They're all going for defence, and then they've made their one move, then they rejoin racing line, and they all kind of snake around a little bit. And all of a sudden, that little battle for 4 is now it's got 3 more people looking on behind now as they go side by side into the chicane. Dan Mould, Dan80, a bit of a contact there. Looks like Craig Waters has just been shuffled back, and the 2 Simtech guys come past again with a bit of damage, bit of contact with each other. It's all happening in the last chicane, Rob.
Yeah, it certainly is. With Craig, it's I think we'll just jump back and have a look at that, because I think he either outbraked himself or braked a bit too early. So we'll go back now.
We've not seen many replays from the start, but yeah, as you said again, Craig looks like he just takes a little bit of avoiding action from the 13 car of Derek Crowther, and I think that just causes a bit of a concertina. Tries to get out of the way, has a little bit of contact behind, and that's made him suffer, I'm afraid, but looks like he hasn't got too much damage on his car. It's just probably changed another million times since we've been on replay, Rob.
Yeah, no, it's but just as we look here now, Derek Crowther, he's doing the Insignia wingman job again, just holding up the pack, so Dan can pull out a few more seconds, sorry, and get down the road before they're all unleashed to chase him. So,
team boss points for the guy in the orange wheels, Derek Crowther, as he's fending off the dual attack from the Simtech machine, and it's going to be a hell of a decision who finishes ahead of Sam and Nick, really, because looking very, very fighty all the way up and down the grid, I think. And I think you called it. You can just see a fantastic bit of a line and exit from Derek, and that's really given him really good drive off the exit there. There's a compromised line from the Simtech guy on the inside, and that's backed him up into Craig Waters. And this is such a hell of a race. This is what it looks like from the other side. As we see the Excite car, Nick Clibbins, just run a little bit wide. Typically, I'm in the car on these kind of races. This is one of the first times I've actually sat on the outside. Bit of a slide and a wobble for the Excite machine, and he's not been able to regain that tarmac, and that's a hell of a slide. And we can just see he's nice, saved it on the throttle. Hopefully he can get it collected and cleaned up before Old Hole, which he can. Hopefully he hasn't got a slowdown, because looking behind him, Mark Brown's gone, hey, there's a car in front of me. I'm catching him. Let's go. And he might have him on the entry to McLean's, I think, because he's going to have to run all the way up Starkey's Bridge through T6.
I think there as well, though, as Nick was taking a shortcut across the grass, I think he just came back on track right in front of Daniel. So Daniel might have had a bit of a Code Brown moment as well in the Matrix car. But
that's a second. That's on point. Such an on point pun that.
Yeah,
we might need to.
Missed him.
We might need to pop to the front. This might be the last lap or the penultimate lap from Callum Reid Garden.
Just saw Barney waving there.
Yeah, there are battles. Absolute battles throughout the grid. As I think Sam J. Smith is just still fighting everyone. I can see 3, 4, 5 cars up, and we will try to have a little bit of a fight. Looks like Elliot James has just missed himself in the red gate, dropped a couple of positions. So and there's another Matrix car there. Happy days. It's going to take a position. These might. I don't know if these guys are getting that. No, this is Elliot James. Had a fantastically quiet race. He's in P10 position. I think if we look to the front of the grid, we might be able to see where Callum Reid Garden is. He's coming up into McLean's, team number 7. Late in the race, there's a position change with John Brown and Chris Perry. So it looks like Chris Perry's got off the podium. We might not have a chance to take a look at that before the finish of the race. We might be able to take a look after the flag. But coming down into the last chicane, this is the feature race, round number 3 of season 3 of Tanso Racing League. Another victory for Callum Reid Garden. Dominant victory in the altitude race machine. Flash of the lights. The Hyundai wins the race.
And then we've got Scott Malcolm there coming in second for his podium. And John Brown coming in third.
A bit of a late heartbreak for Craig Perry, but still a fantastic 4th position from a reverse grid. And yeah, I'll let you carry on the rest of the finishes.
Yep, so after Chris, we had Dan Mould in 5th position, who gained 7. And then followed by Dan, we had Al Brown and Derek Crowther. Craig Walters in 8th, Elliot James in 9th, Nick Clibbins in 10th, Daniel Wareham came in 11th, Mark Brown in 12th, and Emma Dempsey finishing her 2nd race in 13th. And David Smith is just coming around the final few corners now to finish in 14th. Then we've got Fraser Garrity in 15th, Sam Smith in 16th, JT Johnson in 17th, and Stuart Gibbons, who didn't even make one lap, in 18th position.
No, I think we saw that crash from Mr. Gibbons at the start of the race,
yeah.
I think. One thing that strikes out to myself in that race was there's a hell of a lot of people we didn't see on circuit. And they were all in their own little fights, so apologise if we missed any of those fights. That was, predictably, this circuit, these cars, a busy race.
Yep, that's right, Rob. Like I said, it was just constant. From the green flag to the checkered flag, I don't think there was a gap. I'm trying to word it all out here, but anyway, yeah, carry on.
Should we go back, see what happened on something that happened in the last lap that I've completely forgotten already?
Yep, let's have a. I'm trying to look on the events. Was it when Craig Walters went off?
Right, so we're coming up into, I think this is Coppice, a bit wide, bit of a touch of the grass. Got swamped by car number 5, which was Fraser Garrity, who's a lap down. So maybe that's the one, doesn't really count. In fact, it was very fair of Fraser not to throw it down the inside, actually, because he was car lapped, and that was the last lap. No, we're trying to find the one that whatever happened on the last lap that I've completely forgotten.
No,
Anyone in the comments can see that, please let me know. Well, we saw Nick Clibbins go off, didn't we? So we see this is the Al Brown machine.
Yep.
He went wide. Yeah, that cost him a few positions, I think. Or no, sorry, a few seconds anyway. I think he was quite safe looking behind. In fact, to be fair with you, looking at that Code Brown machine, that's probably the biggest gap a Code Brown machine had for the entire race, I think. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Right, well, let's go through the village meeting notes. Who's your driver of the day, Mr. Jackson?
Do you know what? I've not had time to think about it. It was that frantic. I mean, there was good battles all around, so I can't really say which one, was the utmost standout driver. I just think it was just good on everyone's behalf.
Okay, I will say the first ever race in Tanso Racing Group for Scott Malcolm. He had a 7th and a 2nd. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good way of introducing yourself, I think. I will also mention that Fraser Garrity had yet another podium, which is a fantastic improvement in form, continuing improvement from Fraser, which is great. Didn't have a great second race, but he did have that problem on the opening lap, which is a bit of a shame from him and his race, but he did get some points. Solid again from Craig Walders, 6th position, 8th position. He's picking up points because there are people in front of him and behind him who he's going to gain advantage from, maybe in the championship points, because he is the current champion. We had a first position, a full reverse last to first from Dan Mould, and then a 12th to a 5th. This is hard choice. I can tell you who did a really good couple of races. John Brown got a 3rd and a 3rd. He's my driver of the day.
Yeah, no, I suppose that's a good consistency there for John, isn't it? He's 2 podiums. So yeah, it's points mean prizes at the end of the day, don't they?
Absolutely. And we wouldn't mind a bit of prize. Right, next prize, by the way, is I think I spoke to you off air about this as well, didn't we? But just before we went live, the next round number 4, season number 3 of Tanso Racing Group TCR, is Alton Park, but it's not just any Alton Park, which is pretty fun to race in these cars. There's no chicanes, and that means that they're going to be going very fast into Knickerbrook, which is always good for a watch.
Yep, certainly. It's we did speak about it, and I said I prefer that layout of it. And yeah, it will definitely opens up, or the cars can open up, stretch their legs, and yeah, it's it'll make it more interesting, won't it? Like you say, coming up to Knickerbrook.
Yeah, and I think you're going to get you lose 2 corners. Actually, yeah, I mean, yeah, you lose 6 apexes essentially, which is 6 apexes normally I would miss. So that might be good, but you also gain a big old toe up the hill and up the back straight, which we've seen that in Donnington today, for example, down Starkey Straight, coming out of Coppice. Means you can have some interesting conversations when you come into the next corner to chicane for Donnington, Knickerbrook for Alton Park. So I think that's going to be quite good in these cars. So feel free to join us in a couple of weeks' time for that. Feel free to like, subscribe, and follow, etc. All that YouTube stuff. Drop a comment if you want. We will try to get the Discord link for the Tanso Racing Group Championship up on the next race, because they're always looking for new people. We've seen a couple of new faces today, which is fantastic to see, from Emma Dempsey, who got a 13th position and a 13th position as well in her first race, which is fantastic. So yeah, feel free to do all that sort of stuff, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks.